golfers, Mike Durow at Quail Creek Country Club. Today's topic is the downhill. I think I've got about 7 feet here. Whether this putt is for birdie and you really want it, par to save the hole, or bogey, anytime you're trying to save a shot here. And of course what you don't want to do in this downhiller is roll it 6 feet by and have a comebacker, and now you've really lost a stroke. Okay, we want it to go in, but we don't want it to go rolling way by. So the trouble with this putt, I believe, is the power of the mind. 7 feet to most people is a stroke of about 7 feet. It goes back and through. So even though our friends tell us it's downhill, don't hit it too hard, we step up, we take what our brain says is a 7-foot stroke, we stroke it, and darn if our ball doesn't, it just doesn't want to stop. And we've got a putt coming back 7-8 feet. Okay, so what can we do? Okay, you'll see other top instructors and players, they will say, hit the ball on the toe of the club. It deadens the impact. And while this is a method of mishitting a ball, because there's not as much power out there in the toe, I don't like to mishit a ball. So you might practice that, and go ahead and do practice it. But the trouble is, how badly are you going to mishit it? So I like to stay in the center of my club and use another method, and that would be a plan in my mind of understanding it's fast, knowing that it's fast, and basically using a plan of taking an intermediate target. Okay, now you might say, well, how do I know what kind of intermediate target? Well, that's still an educated guess. So this, I know it's downhill, I know it's fast, so I'm going to choose in my mind a spot a third of the way there. I'm just going to say that, a third of the way there, and I'm going to try to stop the ball there. So in my mind, I'm going to say hit a putt that is not 7 feet, but 1.5 feet. Okay, so I set up. I know it's going to break a little right to left, but in my mind, my stroke here now is I'm only trying to go 1.5 feet. And I have it in my mind. I've drawn a spot right there. I want to stop it. Not roll through it, stop it. So I putt, a 1.5 foot putt. And my ball will roll and trickle, and you'll see that it'll stop. But in my mind, I had to take a lesser thing. Somebody might say, how did you know 1.5? Well, I'll tell you this. Now I'm going to say 1 foot. So right here, I'm going to try stop the ball here. Okay? So a 1 foot putt. And I set up, and I get to hit it nice and solid, 1 foot. And watch this ball trickle down, trickle down, trickle down, go in. Oh, that's not the worst of outcomes. I think if that had turned one more leaf, it would have fallen in. Okay, so how do you determine how far? That is still the guess, but I know on a downhill putt, I'm not going to try to stop it 2 feet in front of the cup. That's just too much stroke for me. So generally, if it's downhill, I'm thinking at least half distance or less. If it's lightning fast, you might have to bump the ball, literally a 3-inch putt. In other words, you might have to just get it started. So a case in point is just start it right there. And so you just get that baby started, and if it was fast enough, that putt would have gone in. Okay, because what you don't want is an 8-footer coming back. And so what is it? It's using your imagination, but also knowing that this is a 13 on the stimp meter. It's fast. By the way, some putts you just can't stop, but you still want to stop it farther than 20 feet past. But of course, picking that intermediate thing for your mind to focus on. Because if your mind thinks 7 feet, it's going to give you that 7-foot stroke. But if your mind can focus 5 inches, 12 inches, your stroke will match what your mind is working on, and you'll be able to stop that putt. So practice some downhill putts. You do need to see it in your mind. You need to trust that you're picking a pretty good spot. If you don't trust your spot, of course, you know that if your brain doesn't like what you're thinking, it's not going to achieve it. So if you can conceive it, you can achieve it. So work on these, practice them, and you'll see it in your mind, and you'll be able to pick one out confidently and putt that ball with some confidence. Good luck on those downhillers.